Breaking story today on Sunday, the 10th of November. Floyd Shivambu is going to take on the role of Secretary General of the MK Party. This week, Sifiso Masego stepped down from the role of MK Secretary General to return to the Gauteng Department of Health, which had suspended him on the recommendation of the Special Investigating Unit. He's going back to be the Gauteng Health Department Chief Director. Monetarily, I think that there's no way that MK would have been able to match the salary that he was having, and I think he also may have felt that he has unfinished business in that particular role and that he wants to go back into government, to clear his name, to execute the vision that he had as director. And as a result of that, he stepped down from the MK party. And that left a question throughout the week: who is going to replace him? Who's going to replace him? Well, the breaking news coming out this afternoon, early in the afternoon, is that it's going to be Floyd Shivambu.
Who you'd know left the EFF to the MK party. Some talk about whether he was going to be Secretary General of the MK party. I see a statement now coming in from our news team indicating that the Mkhonto WeSizwe President Jacob Zuma has basically saying, as prescribed by the MK party constitution, the president, in this case, the MK party president, Jacob Zuma, has in consultation with the MK party national officials appointed Commander Nico Floyd Shivambu as the Secretary General of Mkhonto WeSizwe, effective immediately. Commander Nico Floyd Shivambu will assume all the functions and tasks of the Secretary General as prescribed by the constitution of the MK party. And that's the...
So the position of Secretary General in the MK party has been relatively unstable this year. There have been 4 removals / resignations / reshuffles this year. MK is not even a year old, or it's just over a year old, actually. It is a year old if you look at when they registered with the IEC. And it's older than that as an idea, right? Because we've been hearing from Advocate Dalimpofu about different meetings that were held, and Jab Kumalo also speaking about the timeline for the birth of MK. But to the public, MK is a year old, or just under a year old, because the public knows MK from the 16th of December, when Jacob Zuma had that press briefing where he spoke about how he would be supporting the MK party in the next election. So 4 substitutions in a year for a position such as Secretary General is very unstable, if we're being honest, right? In March, the first known acting Secretary General, Thandikolo Gobashev Doyo, was replaced by Sihle Ngubane. Then Sihle Ngubane was replaced by Arthur Zwane in July, due to allegations of mismanagement or something to that effect. Then Arthur Zwane got replaced by Masego shortly after that. Then President Jacob Zuma, president of the MK, reshuffled Masego to the Human Resources Department and reinstated Zwane. Then Sifiso Masego was reinstated again as Party Secretary General. So can you see that it's been like this? And that's something that is not good for a critical role of that nature. To be quite honest, you need to have the Secretary General role stable because of what it does, and we're going to discuss that later. But when Sifiso Masego resigned, apparently there's a letter that is dated 29 October. He informed the party that his resignation would be effective from the 4th of November, when he'd have to start his job back at the Gauteng Department of Health. In his resignation letter, he made it very clear that he's still very much within the MK party, that he said that this is not a decision that came easily to him, but his employment condition dictates that he return to his employment, talking about going back to being a director. And then he said he will always be available for any deployment by the MK party leadership, but not in the capacity of being an office bearer due to the imminent changes in the legislative framework, which is going to be applicable to public servants. So It's not going to be possible for someone to be, according to him, a public servant and also an office bearer of a political party. And it actually makes sense that you separate those particular things, because that in and of itself can lead to a variety of problems, right? So he says, I'm going back to government, better deal there, pension. There's a lot that would make you want to go back to that kind of a job, even if MK was paying him a similar salary, even if you are getting to be at the front lines of South African politics in a significant way. There's a lot that would make you go back to being a director. It's a big job. So let's talk about this role of the Secretary General. The Secretary General, according to the MK Constitution, is the chief executive officer of the organization and is custodian of the following functions: membership and related systems, deployment, monitoring and evaluation of governance, particularly of the Mkhonto WeSizwe party caucuses, public representatives working with the national organizer, communications and security. The Secretary General, in concurrence with the national organizer, is responsible for the establishment of MK party structures and detachments. So as you can see, that's not a trivial role. It's a very big role, and it is the CEO function of the organization. Very senior. The national organizer is the position that Floyd Shivambu was in, and it's just worth discussing what the national organizer's obligations, responsibilities were. The national organizer is responsible for organizing development of Mkhonto WeSizwe party organizational documents and guidelines, political education, policy research, monitoring and evaluation of governance, particularly MK party caucuses, public representatives working with the Secretary General, cadre development. The national organizer is also responsible for the representation of the MK party in the IEC structures. So that was what Floyd was doing. And the last one here that it says that the national organizer, in concurrence with the Secretary General, is responsible for the establishment of MK structures and detachments. That's what Floyd was doing. He can easily absorb a lot of the Secretary General roles because, in a way, he was shadowing. He was shadowing, and he was already doing a lot of this work, or some of this work, but now he has more responsibility. So here are my thoughts on this situation. Number one, this is definitely a promotion for Floyd Shivambu. It's showing that he's being valued within the MK party, that indeed Jacob Zuma respects him, trusts him, and that he's not making a mistake at a personal level in terms of his own political journey. Yes, being deputy president of EFF is a big job, but it's one sometimes where you're in the middle, like a middle child, because you've got a Secretary General doing a lot of work, you got the president doing a lot of work, and you're there kind of like, plus one. Not necessarily that's what it was. I'm just saying sometimes it can be like that. So now to occupy this Secretary General position is definitely a promotion for him. It's definitely a big responsibility. It definitely makes him a mover and shaker within the MK party in and of itself. Lots of authority in that position. So his bet on himself, to a degree, has now proven to have paid off, right? So my second point that I want to make is that Floyd has taken a big political risk by moving to a different party this early after an election. Typically, people make these kind of moves towards a new election, a fresh election. But Floyd said, I'm leaving Parliament, I'm going to join MK. We still have 4 more years till the next election, but I'm okay with that. I'm happy to move at this particular time. That's a risky decision. And in as much as I was critical of his explanation, I have to respect that he bet on himself, he took the risk, and he fully committed to this particular move. And in a way, his commitment makes me think of, when parents don't approve of a relationship between teenagers. Sometimes that makes the teenagers love each other more. Why am I talking about this in this context? There's been a lot of criticism and cynicism from people about his move to the MK party, and therefore he has a lot of work to do and he has a lot to prove. And this position may give him the perfect opportunity and space to prove himself, to really show that he loves MK, that he really believes that MK is the vehicle to achieve his political vision and the political vision that he says he shares with Jacob Zuma. So he took the risk, he's committed, he's, as they say in America, locked in. He's locked in. He's locked into this. Or as they say on TikTok, he understands it now. He understands it now. So having said that, my third point that I want to make is that the SG position has been unstable in the MK party, and they needed to have a full-time person there, a person who's fully committed, 100% committed to growing their grassroots structures. And I think now they have that kind of a person. Even though Floyd has moved political parties, he is a stable person. He stays for a long time in the organizations where he's at, and his movements have always had some kind of a justification that makes sense. He's not going to move around, for instance, so quickly that I think we can say, no, he'll be DA 6 months from now. No, that's not the case. So I think that they've got somebody here now who is going to give them the stability that this particular position needs. And that's a critical thing, considering my next point. My fourth point is that Floyd does bring something that MK party needs at this moment. The benefit that Floyd has is that he has been in a political startup, right, the EFF, and he has seen it grow over 10 years from the front row. He was in meetings, he was in communities, he was on the streets. He knows the growth journey, he knows the challenges. He also knows the political landscape in South Africa as well as anyone. The challenge for new organizations, particularly new organizations where the leaders of those organizations are coming from established structures, is actually building the grassroots structures to do the same thing. So for instance, if you used to coach Manchester United has everything that you'd ever need as a coach. If you then come and coach a high school soccer team, or maybe the Alexandra soccer team, or a team in Alexandra, you're not going to get the same kind of infrastructure that Manchester United had. Manchester was paying for the top players, top physios, top everything. If you're going to become a soccer coach in Alexandra, you have to go find the players, because everyone is working, everyone is you don't just go and find something cooked for you. Do you understand? So sometimes when people leave these established structures, because the ANC is a very sophisticated old machine that has been in existence for over 100 years. When you join the ANC, you're not building that much, especially if you find it on the way, right? Or if maybe, because Zuma was there in critical areas and times where he built up structures like the Mkhonto WeSizwe in exile. But he's been away from that for a long time. The ground has shifted, the dynamics have shifted in terms of setting up something in the bush is not the same as setting up something ekasi, as setting up something, you know what I'm trying to put across. So Floyd has got that capacity. He's got that expertise. Many people who are coming out of the ANC side of things, Abo Brian Mulefe, all of these guys, they don't know this grassroots stuff. They don't know street politics. Floyd knows street politics. Whether you like him, you don't like him, he knows that street politics, we can't take it away from him. To put somebody who knows that, somebody who was SRC president at WITS, who was mobilizing on campuses across the country, he knows grassroots stuff. That's a good position to put him in, and he's going to then be able, as SG, to execute his vision with the authority, with the mandate from Jacob Zuma, who gave that speech when he came in and said, hey, this boy is key, this boy is critical. So that's where things are going to be. That's where things are going to be. I think he then comes in as a big asset. The big challenge, this is my final point, that MK has still going into the next four years or so, is that it's still the Zuma name that seems to be carrying the organization. And to a degree, it's still the tribal affiliations that seem to be carrying the organization. Not 100%, but to a degree, because the places where MK got a lot of votes are places with large Zulu populations. If you look, KwaZulu-Natal, easy, Mpumalanga, easy, Gauteng as well as a large Zulu population. What the party needs is to be able to, and they're doing that, I'm not saying they're not doing that, to diversify, to move beyond being tribal to national not only in terms of just the support base, because it's not like they came in there and said, no, Ipati Amazulu or whatever. No. That's what IFP and others did long ago. This is not coming across in that way, but the support base is still coming from a particular concentration. And I think that's fair to say based on the numbers that came out. So to move forward, they have to deal with the idea that it's still the Zuma name carrying the thing, and also that it's a certain tribe carrying the support base, right? It needs to develop further and have deeper roots. And I think Floyd will be able to help them with this because he understands organizing nationally. And now to put him in this SG thing also breaks that idea that into Yamazulu or whatever, because now you can't actually say that. The president is Zulu, but the SG is not. And you can't contest that now. So now the national identity of the party is also taking shape, right? The public is going to keep watching this stuff because people have seen Cope come in. Cope came in very hot, but could not hold on to that momentum. So one of the things that you have to be able to show is that you're not Cope. Then the other thing that you have to be able to show is that you're not IFP. Then you have to be able to show a variety of things. And IFP, I mean, is still an existing party, etc. But for a very long time, it only had support base in KwaZulu-Natal. And even up to now, most of its support is still coming from KwaZulu-Natal. So you have to tick those kind of boxes. And the next 4 years are going to be important for MK to be able to show that, right? To be able to show that, no, they are a thorough, comprehensive, professional political organization that is a viable alternative to the other political organizations in existence, a viable alternative to ANC, to Democratic Alliance, to EFF. And this particular move, this particular appointment of Floyd Shivambu, because he's not waiting to go back to government. He's in. He took the risk. EFF people are attacking him all the time online. So he's locked in. And he understands it now. He understands it now because he knows how to do grassroots. So this is a good move for the MK party. The appointment of Floyd to SG seems to be a move that will help them Gwaza Mkhonto, as they say, right? So this is where things stand. The political dynamics in South Africa are shifting fast, shifting in interesting ways, right? A lot of focus has been on the left, but even the left, they do deserve focus. They do deserve scrutiny. And we can't just spend all of our time looking at what DA said to ANC, what Mbalula said to, we have to look at all of the elements, all of the players. And MK party deserves to be analyzed thoroughly, given attention as well, because they are the third largest party, 2.5 million votes, official opposition in parliament, and are led by one of the most significant politicians to ever do politics in South Africa, and that's Jacob Zuma. And we can't ignore those things. You know, for a very long time, people were having delusional and delulu conversations about Donald Trump, and they were failing to speak honestly about what he was within the American political system, how popular he was, and all of those things. And all they were saying is like, no, people will never vote for a felon, people will never do this, people will never do this. Trump won. And if they had been honest, the Democrats, maybe they would have taken some of the developments that played out a little bit more seriously. Maybe when Joe Biden said he's running again, they would have said, no, shut it down. Trump is formidable. We need a formidable player to play on our side. But they didn't. So I'm never going to be one of those people who will try to downplay Jacob Zuma, downplay the influence of Jacob Zuma or anything to that effect, because we are all seeing that that is always a mistake. That is always a mistake. We have to give him the respect he deserves. Even though he's older, his political influence in South Africa is still significant. So now, Floyd is in position. We'll have to see how he plays. And everyone has got a real litmus test coming up, and that's local government elections. If you mess up there, then serious questions will start being asked. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but this is where things are now. Good move from the MK party. Till the next one, guys.